Now to the stunning toll the pandemic is taking on the economy. We just saw how unemployment spiked in yesterday's jobs report, but other figures tell an even darker story. It is the number of people applying for unemployment benefits. 3.2 million Americans applied 2 weeks ago. Then that enormous figure more than doubled to over 6.6 million last week. For more on this, we are joined by CBS News senior business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Jill, I'm going to start with something that really stood out, not even just the numbers. In reading from so many economic experts, the talk that this will be more like the Great Depression than any recession we've ever seen has been out there. Can you give us any sense of how that might look in our modern time?
Well, first of all, let's talk about what's different, and that is that we've learned a lot of lessons since the Great Depression. So I know when people are thinking about breadlines, it's very scary. That's not what's happening today. We are throwing a lot of money at this problem. We are the richest nation in the world, and so we're not going to see that. But the reason we're going back to the Depression is we've just never seen job losses like this ever. And as you said, with 10 million people filing for new unemployment claims over the course of just 2 weeks, well, let's put that in perspective. Throughout the Great Recession, there were 8.8 million jobs lost over 18 months. So this is a sudden stop to not just the U.S., but also the global economy. And so we're looking back to understand how long it could last and what we can do better this time around.
And those unemployment numbers certainly are staggering right now. I know talking with a lot of people early on in the process, they had a hard time even just applying for the benefits. Where are we now with that?
Well, the state unemployment systems are really overdone, especially in those states that were hardest hit early on. So Washington State and California, New York, New Jersey, these problems are going to be ironed out. And so what I want to remind anyone who has been laid off or furloughed, you don't actually have to be a full-time employee to collect unemployment. That has changed since we got the CARES Act passage. You also should know that if you run into a problem online, try not to call. You're going to be on the phone for hours. If you need help with your online registration for unemployment benefits, call your friends, get someone to walk you through it. But go ahead and do this because this is part of your lifeline that the state and the federal government is providing.
And Joe, we just have those numbers up on the screen. Looking at the March jobs report, most losses were in leisure and hospitality. As you look ahead to the April report, what are you expecting to see then?
Well, economists are very concerned that when you look at the report we just had, it's really for the first 2 weeks of March. And so as a result, when the next report comes out, we could see millions of job losses. And I mean millions, 1, 2, 3 million. Some economists are predicting 5 to 7 million. And when you look at that sharp tip, when you look at leisure and hospitality, think about the restaurants, think about the drinking establishments, think about retail, which is the next wave. You know, the retail furloughs occurred in the second half of March. We now know hundreds of thousands of employees of retailers have been sidelined. Whether or not they can come back anytime soon is anybody's guess, but I think that's the next wave to see real problems in that industry.
And Jill, very quickly, the other issue here on Friday, small business owners did start the process of the Paycheck Protection Program, but there's going to be this massive influx now of applications. Are financial institutions and the government prepared to handle that?
Well, they aren't ready right now, and we saw a lot of problems yesterday. There's promises that things will get better. If you got a message that said you're not eligible, try again next week.
Okay, Jill Schlesinger, thank you very much.
Sure.